Hello everyone, it's Solak here. I am very excited to announce that I shall start doing cards, oracle cards, pick them for you guys on request actually, to focus on, rather than the star signs, which is also my next project, I shall pull cards for all the 4 elements, and then one additional card as an overall card. Basically I will choose it as a 5th element, which would be spirit or source, whatever you want to call it, God, consciousness, etc. Basically you can relate it to the astrology and their signs. For example, I'm a Capricorn with a rising, well, with an ascendant of the sign Aquarius. So I would have, for me it would be very important to look at the earth element first, and then how I am in the world with my ascendant. The air element will play a role, and the other 2 elements, for example in this case for me, would be water and fire. I will just look at it how I can integrate them, if I'm lacking them or if I am balanced with them all, because at the end of the day we have all of the elements within us. So I hope you enjoy this, and let's see what spirit has in store for us. This, by the way, counts for the first week of this month, which will be September 2019, but it's also absolutely and totally relevant and valid for any cross watchers out there, or anyone that comes across this video, which obviously means is meant for you, and something inside of this will resonate with you. I hope it will bring you joy and inspiration, because that's always my goal. Let's have a look. I shall shuffle these beautiful cards. I can't remember now what they're called, but I love this deck so much. Alone for the top deck, the cover. If you have a look, it's got the beautiful symbol of the flower of life. Okay. I shall start from the most dense element, with the most dense element, which would be the earth. Then go on to water, I suppose, and then fire, and then the most ethereal element, obviously then the air, plus spirit as a last overall message. Obviously I don't know if you can see the cards, you probably can't see them, but it doesn't matter, I'll just show them up. I just put them down like that. So, first one up, most relevant theme, symbols, message for all earth signs out there, or anyone with strong earth element in their being. That's the most important one for the earth sign, which is it's this beautiful card showing or saying retreat. We're gonna carry on, and then I'll show them all to you yet again when I interpret them individually. The second element which comes into play here now is for all the water signs out there, or anyone that has a lot of that element. The fluidity of this element feels like a feminine element as well, and so does the earth element, by the way, to me. That's this one is important, which will be the tree of life. Not very good lighting in here, but it is evening and this part of the earth for me. So next one up comes the element of fire. So this would be any fire signs. You know who you are. That's the one element. Or anyone with that fire as an ascendant in their astrological sign, or in general. If you're cross-watching, I say it again, or if this comes across to you and you need to have more passion, more action, more fiery inspiration, to ignite some project where you need the fire element, the solar energy and so on, that will be this card. It's a very red card, but it actually says, ironically, rest. There is like a sunset and there's dolphins in this picture, but it's also possible that this is like a sunrise. However, there's a lot of water. I feel like emotions are connected to that. I come to the interpretation in a moment anyway. We carry on now with the last and not least element of the sign of air. That's the one calling me. Oh, this is even represented by all of the animals here with this card, with the title Animal Kingdom. And I shall show them to you again in a moment. So, last one is an overall card for the overall message, which is here symbolized by spirit, and that's that one. And we have the boundaries. Funny enough, it shows a space with an endless sky, with another world and reality beyond these walls, where this one person in the big shot trying to climb out of, on a ladder actually. So that's interesting, because it looks very multi-dimensional. Now I shall put these cards aside and show you these individual cards. So I feel for you all out there who are an earth sign, this is the card that is showing, that came up. Basically, I feel with that you are, or we are, upon a time coming across in this first quarter of September month 2019. There is a need for retreat. There is a need to go within more, or without, as in into nature. So the earth wants to connect with its own element, to make sense of it, that it wants to retreat in its own womb, in the nature, in the mother creative nature space, where you can recover and feel safe, where you can obviously rejuvenate and recharge. There's also a need of quiet space, I feel, for the earth elements or earth sign, that in order for balancing itself out, it needs like the same kind. So if you feel drawn to join a group that you've always wanted to join, this is the time to do it. If you would like to join a space or an activity that, even though it's a retreat where inner work happens naturally without even having to force it, that's the moment maybe now to be encouraged to go out for a, I don't know, for a trekking experience, or for simply go into the woods and meditate, or go for a walk. But I do feel it's calling to do it near the earth, where there is a lot of earth elemental beings, for example, connection with gnomes and all these lovely magical beings that are behind. For example, roots of trees also comes to mind. And I feel also go more barefoot, walk upon the earth, kiss her with your feet. Yes, with these feet. So that you can really reconnect with the earth element more. We have really forgotten how to connect with the earth. Breathe in properly, maybe going on a yoga retreat, of course. But just the point is to be very much physical with it all. More physical, more movement in the body, more exercise, even if it's just a pure gentle walk. That alone creates miracles, does wonder, because it's a very healthy way and very gentle way to move all of your muscles, all of your body organs, to feel energized, to feel healthier, to feel recovered. So yes, earth element, you know what to do now. And in terms of the water element now, we had the tree of life. I'm sorry with the lighting, I must do something with it because obviously it's not bright enough. But this is a beautiful image of this wonderful, almost fiery tree. And obviously it's not just a tree, it's the tree of life, which is very embedded and in an absolute balance of heaven and earth, between the two, father and mother. Father sky, they call it often, and mother earth. And I feel our emotional side, all of the parts that are connected with the element of water, require to be directed, rooted, focused into the branches. Branch out, literally. Reach out and branch out. Imagine you have all these emotions that want to be expressed. In this first week of September, I feel it's really important to give those unheard, maybe unspoken emotions a voice. Let them flow more freely, but in a safe way, in a channeled way. So if I see a tree that requires water, it will obviously absorb it through the earth, through the roots, so it will stay very grounded. That again, make sure you stay very grounded. Have a bath or go even into the sea to have a swim, but make sure that you touch the earth at the same time, because I feel the need that the water element has been so out of control in most recent times. So don't be surprised if your water pipes in the kitchen burst, or the washing machine is not working properly, or you dropped your phone in the water element. It's literally reaching out for you to really focus. Where are your emotions? Are they all over the place? Are they scattered? Have you cried the uncried tears yet? Or again, just a way to vent these emotions in a safe, structured way, if that makes sense. So talking about feelings would help, or taking a salt bath in a bathtub. Basically, it even links in with some other cards here that I've got. For example, the spirit one that says boundaries. The healthy boundaries would be like, where am I fair towards myself? Where am I just and loving, self-loving towards myself, by taking care of myself, by nurturing these emotions, all of them, without judgment. I think this is the key information here. A tree of life includes everything, includes the good, the bad, and the ugly. So it does include also not very nice emotions, not very nice feelings to do with rejection, ignored feelings, suppressed feelings, old feelings that may have stagnated in our system. Imagine this would be like toxic water. You wouldn't go and have a swim in a toxic water environment where, for example, it's polluted with oils or anything else you can think of. The plastic pollution is a very big one at the moment, isn't it? So imagine you just would look at all these water elements within us, within you, and without judgment, without condemning them, the bad ones or the uncomfortable ones, I would rather call them, because there's nothing really bad and good. It's just different. Everything is different, has differences, and this is the whole game on earth between the polarity, the duality. It's always a game that we play trying to balance ourselves out, because we know how when we are in rock bottom, then we want to go up again and ride the perfect wave. So basically find the middle way. But if you haven't experienced the harsh extremes, sometimes we can't appreciate the same way life and all that is in between, like all the colors of the rainbow, and maybe even some colors that don't even exist on earth. As you can see, the lovely green dream catcher in the background. It's a very beautiful rainbow one. So everything wants to be integrated, looked at, and rooted down in connection with spirit and all that is in between. Let's not forget everything in between. Let's read between the lines. Let's look again between the gaps, because sometimes between two spaces, like between two sounds, every pause that we notice in life, throughout everything, is where magic can happen. When we breathe in, there's a pause, and in that moment, it's almost like a still stand, a vacuum moment, and then we breathe out, and then there's this moment again where all the magic happens again, where we don't know what's gonna happen. So to become very flexible with our emotions, just like a tree that stays grounded and yet has the branches and the leaves waving in the wind, in the element of air, for example, which is coming soon. So when we come into the fire, maybe we'll be experiencing very, very heated emotions in this first September week, or in general right now. Whoever is watching is obviously, hopefully, going to resonate with you and will be relevant to you. Basically, this represents all the fire signs, or generally the fire element within us. So I feel that the resting is showing that maybe a very creative energy and force was there to do things, but just be cautious and watch out that you're not gonna burn out, literally. I mean, look what's happening in the Amazon forests, which is quite obviously shocking, because it's so brutal, these fires that are just getting probably out of control. I also believe a part of it is or bringing renewal and waking us up even faster, literally pushing ourselves to act quick. Because imagine you're in a house of fire, with fire, the alarm is going off, everything. It's very easy to panic. So this is encouraging us to take a step back, hold on for a moment, hold the space, and look at it in a neutral way, as a witness, and see what you can do. Because often when you have to do very quick decisions, I feel like in this first week or quarter of the month of September, or in general who is watching right now for this week coming up, it's very relevant to notice, just notice how you're dealing with your own inner fire. Do you keep it low and have it as an ember glowing constantly and steadily that will nurture you and keep you warm, almost like a battery that will last longer? Or are you someone that is just like fireworks, explodes in every way and will just lose all the energy very quickly? It can be great, for example, if you have to run some quick sprint, that's when you need that fire energy firing you up like a rocket, and you need it at once, all in one big blast. But it is asking basically to rest that. If you have a creative project that you're burning to do, just have a moment, take a breath, and maybe walk away for a bit, and then just come back, just clear your head, whatever it is, any project that you may have wanted to do or are about to do. Just make sure you take a moment to retreat for a bit, as we have here as well, and the Tree of Life. Retreat and just make sure you rest. You have restful sleep. Make sure, if you are in a very creative, busy time where things are at stake, or deadlines. I also feel like deadlines are around, so before you just jump in, make sure you're rested before you feel like you're not overdoing it and exhausting yourself. This is just inviting us to be cautious, because the sky looks even on fire. Actually, talk about fire element. To me, the sky and the air is hot. It has been very hot here in this part of the world, in England, in the UK. But also questions with all the global warming and all this can just be a theme where we shall meditate upon, take ourselves a bit to the side and have a look at it all. And that brings us to the air element. I feel like this has also got to do with sound, because if you look carefully on this card, if you can see it, it shows various animals from different elements, like the eagle, the bear, very central. There's even this gorgeous planet here in the corner top left. I feel that could be the moon. Yes, and in the background there's even a waterfall. Behind that, in front of the waterfall, I see a stag or an elk, and a wolf, and some crystals, and they're all very ethereal and rainbow shiny. Almost like I feel the animal kingdom in the air element, or within us, the very primal nature of ourselves is screaming. The air, as in, to do this kind of original scream that expresses basically everything. So anyone with the sign of for example, Aquarius, Libra, and what's the other one? Gemini, or in general has that air element as an ascendant, or in general wants to integrate that part of themselves more, I feel like the primitive, primal side of us is calling, is creating sound for help, sound for support. There is also an owl here on the left. I didn't even see that. That happened to be my power animal, or one of them anyway. So basically they are shouting and saying, we have a birthright, listen to that. We are powerful when used properly. I feel like anyone with the air element, relevant, that rhymes as well, shall look at themselves and at their own ego. So basically, I can look at myself and say, okay, ego, you're supposed to be my servant. I am so grateful for you. But make sure you own yourself. You own, sorry, the verb. You own your ego as a servant. Just like our mind, they call it sometimes the monkey mind. So in a way, every part of us could be compared or symbolized analogically with an animal spirit or an animal, power animal, symbolizing something. And obviously central here is the bear, which is calling out also for boundaries. Ironically, this is coming as well for boundaries. The bear to me symbolizes also power and owning your power, stepping up to your power. So this first week of September, in this coming week, I feel like it's going to be important to look within, go and retreat, find your roots, really ground yourself, maybe even look at a family tree. I feel all these can be relevant, you know, who you really are, and then step out and step up to the game, you know, like new game, new round. What else is possible of these infinite possibilities? As a very well-known writer, she's amazing, called Sark, she interpreted, for example, the impossible as I am possible. If you look at it and do a little hyphen on the in front of the after the I, impossible, it basically means I'm possible. So we come here to be completely ourselves, and I hope and wish you all that you can step up to your true self more and more every day. It's never done, this journey. It's always going on, always going on, transforming, falling back, falling forward. So let's turn it into a dance, like the cha-cha-cha and the tango. There you go, a step forward and then 2 step back, and sometimes we tumble and fall. This is all part of it, part of the fun. Even though it's not always fun, but afterwards we can always look at it that way. That is just the humor we can integrate in our lives. So spirit as an overall message with the boundaries, I feel like that goes really well with everything, especially also with the bear, showing the courage. And there's also a very strong mother energy, so even stronger than ever. The feminine side is stepping up as well, claiming her rightful birthright, basically, almost, and included with the women and the men, of course. But originally we obviously all were born from mothers. So here comes the boundary as an overall message from spirit. Basically, make sure that you always see the boundaries so you can go beyond them and transform them and expand them. I feel there is a big need in this first week of September to reach out and expand and look at all the beautiful new possibilities so that miracle can come and find you.